Okay, this one looks a little bit more complex, but it's not really. I just want to talk you through why it's not really more complex. Okay, um, we still have what we had in the last several problems, which is this kind of expression in the numerator of the fraction and something being divided by something. On the right-hand side, it just happens to be that instead of a whole number, you've got some improper fraction. Doesn't matter. It's fine. This is just a number, and so this expression with the uh, or this fraction with the variable expression in the numerator divided by some number is equal to a number. Still the same. So how do we look at it? Well, we do the same thing. We write the original problem, and then because we're isolating the variable, what we're really concerned with is what's happening on the left-hand side. We want to undo what's happening to g. And again, we'll do this one last time for this last problem. You can imagine that there's invisible parentheses around that fraction, that expression in the numerator of the fraction. So the last thing that happens is divided by 3. How do we undo that? We undo that with a times 3. Okay, so we take 3 times everything that was on the left-hand side goes in there. Okay, and then equals 3 times everything that was on the right-hand side goes in there. Yep. Now, interesting, what goes on here is that you can see that, remember, this divided by 3 is undone by this times 3. And same thing over here. This was really 5 divided by 3, and it's undone with the times 3. So if you can guess what's happening here, that these also cancel out just like these do, then you get a simplified equation that is g minus 3, what was left on the inside after these canceled out, equals 5, which is what's left after these canceled out. G minus 3 equals 5. So how do we finish that off? Well, what's happening to g right now? 3 is being subtracted from it. What's the opposite, the inverse operation for minus 3? It is plus 3. So we write g minus 3 plus 3. And then we write what's on the right-hand side, 5 plus 3. Okay, now this cancels out. Those go away to leave you with just g, and these go together to be 8. So we've got g equals 8. That's our solution, and we're going to check it with the proof. So what do we do with the proof? We start with the original equation unchanged, g minus 3 over 3 equals 5 over 3. Then we put parentheses where the variable was, right? Everything else the same. And then we just simplify using order of operations. And the first thing that we need to do is we need to do what's up here. Because look, if you look up top, it says that's kind of invisible parentheses, means that gets done first. So 8 minus 3 is 5. And when we simplify that and write that as a 5, you then see, look, we've got 5 over 3, and that's what's on the other side, 5 over 3. 5 over 3 equals 5 over 3. So there's nothing else to do. We're done. And it worked out. So we know that our answer is correct. I hope those were all helpful. Some big ideas. Again, to recap this whole lesson, you always start with the original equation, and you're undoing order of operations backwards with the inverse operation. So the last thing that would have happened, if you knew the value of the variable, right, would be the divide by 3, so you undo that with the times 3 first, and so on. You're undoing everything by going backwards with their inverse operations. And then, for the proof, the first thing you have, original equation. Second thing you have, same equation, just with the parentheses where the variable was and the value plugged in. And then you simplify each side separately using order of operations. And if you get the same number on both sides, then that's very likely that you did it all correct. And I say that because occasionally, every once in a while, someone makes a mistake in their solution, and then they make a second mistake in their proof, and magically it seems to work out because there's multiple mistakes going on. Okay, but if you really think you know what you're doing and you're going slow, then you might end up making a single mistake, and that would pop out in the proof. So then you can figure out where it went wrong and fix it. That was all helpful.